is the Peru sourcing call for 2026. And I'm really excited to share the information that we have here. The idea for these calls really came about when internally at Algrano, we have a lot of teams who are involved in a lot of different parts of sourcing, sales, et cetera. And we internally talk about quality control, sourcing updates, harvest updates, et cetera. And I really wanted that information to be available to roasters to make informed sourcing decisions. So this one, we're going to be talking about Peru. The goals for this call are really for you to learn the context around the Peru harvest this year. We're going to gain insights into the harvest season, what it's like right now, learn what coffees are available on Algrano's platform and why they're available or why they might not be available right now, and to touch base with Algrano's team members to hear our insights. We're also going to understand the offers. So we'll have a platform demo to learn how to search for Peruvian coffees on Algrano's marketplace. We'll get tips on some key and standout coffees from our quality lab. And we want you to leave feeling confident about sourcing and planning your Peruvian coffee this season. And overall, we also want you to take action. This is some just context, but it also is to inform you to take actions so that you are able to search for coffees on the Algrano marketplace, order samples of coffees that you might be interested in purchasing, then place those orders before the shipment dates close, and reach out to support with additional questions. These are the team members you will be meeting today. We have Xavier from our sourcing team. We have Pablo, our head of quality and quality control lab. We have Cecile on the growth team and Ana Sofia in our support team. And I am Kat. I'm also on the growth team with Cecile. And I'll be your host, leading you through this webinar. The agenda pretty much goes in line with the people you just met. We're going to get origin insights from Xavier. We're going to talk about offers and recommendations from Pablo in the quality control lab. Cecile will give us a platform demo, so you'll learn how to search the platform, what buttons to press to get to where you want to go. And we'll have plenty of time for a question and answer segment where you can ask questions of anyone on our team who's here today. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the mic off to Xavier from our sourcing team to give us origin insights and a harvest report.
Thank you, Kat. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us all today. I'm Xavier. I am a part of the sourcing team. I'm the producer manager for Latin America, and I'm a Belgian living in Brazil on coffee farm. We're in the middle of the harvest, so I'm right now on the farm as well. But today I want to talk to you guys about the Peru 2026 harvest. So before I begin, I just want to tell you that this is not just a report. This is a live update from what we gather, these information straight from the producers that we work with as from Algrano. So we are in contact with the producers that are on the marketplace today directly. So this information has been gathered over the past few months and is straight from them. So there is three things with the current harvest in Peru. So it's a smaller and it's a later crop. So 40% less yield than when you compare it to last year across the producers that we work with on our platform, but actually just in general in Peru. It's late. So many of the producers, they only hit their peak harvest in late June, July. In normal terms, this would be more that they would begin in May and that they already by the end of May have harvested quite some coffee already. But then on top of this, so the drivers for this being late and the yield being low is the heavy rains that hit the crops at the beginning of the harvest and during the drying process, which caused some disease, which is called anthracnosis, which because of the humidity had a spread over the coffee throughout the crop, throughout the harvest. The next slide, I will give you more updates on this. So to go more into depth with this, so smaller crop and a later one. So as I mentioned, 30 to 40% less than previous year's yields. the main drivers here, it was too much rain at the worst time. So there was an excessive rainfall at the beginning in May of the harvest and during the drying phases. So the drying, when it rains during the drying phase, it means that the humidity will be going into the bean if there is no coverage for the coffee, and it can lead to a certain molding or to certain disease spread. Now, this gets a challenge, of course, gives a challenge for the producers um, to make sure that during this rain that they cover it as much as possible, as fast as possible, but this leads to a lower yield. So if you look at the right side of the slide, you see that the calendar has moved. So normally late May, so normally actually the harvest begins at the beginning of May. Now they only started at the end of May. So that's when the first producers started harvesting. And then late June, early July, that's only when the producers actually reached peak harvest. So that's a clear shift from the normal pattern. And now we're in August. So now the main lots there are continuing to land. So the samples are coming in into our quality lab and are becoming more available on our platform. But we see that it shifted more to the end of August, which normally should be the end of July, mid or beginning of August. And then when we talk about the micro lot offering, that will arrive at the tail of the season. So this will be more end of August, beginning of September, mid-September. So not only word from me, so this is Richard. He works with Falcao Coffee in the north of Peru. And he describes basically that this year it's a very atypical year for Peru. And he's mainly kind of suggesting and referring to the fact that um, these heavy rains they overcomplicate a lot. So what he mentions here below in the quote is that like almost 95% of their production comes from these small producers who do everything themselves. So they do the depulping, the defermenting, the drying, but they usually use open air solutions or open air patios with no mechanical dryer. So they are depending on open air patios basically, which overcomplicates this because when it rains, they are not able to cover everything, which of course leads to higher humidity in the bean, and it gets a lot harder to dry every coffee at once. So that's one of the main drivers why Peru has 30 to 40% less yield this year. All right. So what does this actually mean? So what does it change? So I just want to kind of give you an insight as well because it feels that it's kind of a bad news. It's 30%, 40% less yield. But this is, of course, it's still nature. But when we checked in with our producers, they are doing everything in their power to make sure that the quality is still holding. So they do these humidity checks. They make sure that the drying happens at a normal stage, and so they are able to keep uh, offering us the cup quality that we need to offer it to you as a roaster. So this will remain competitive. So not only the specialty varieties, but as the high specialty variety as well, like the geisha, the bourbon, etc. Um, so as well, so because the volume and the yield is lower this year in Peru, this of course has an effect on the producer price. So when the offer goes down, of course, the prices go up a bit because this puts a lot of pressure. But not only that, it's there is a lot of increase of the internal market prices in Peru for coffee. So now there's a lot of demand as well within the Peruvian market, which means that now we're not only competing us as exporters or helping the producer export their coffee, they're really looking into selling their coffees as well in the internal market. So this is the feedback that we got from Richard as well from Faikal that it's changing the prices from 400 to 500 soles, which is around 118 US dollars, to nearly 1,000 to 100,200 soles. So this is more than double. So this means that there is not only a pressure on the export price, but as well there is a competition even to get and to secure these coffees. So this puts a lot of pressure on the buying window of Algrano and the roasters, but as well on the price. Now, it's not only a bad news show because this means for producers that they will get paid a higher price, not only from exporters like us or like partners like us, but it means that they will be able to sell their coffees as well in a way shorter supply chain, so they will get paid faster as well. So this is not only a bad thing, this is a good thing as well for local producers, coffee shops, etc. in Peru. Now, this has a very cool effect because, as you might know, in Latin America, it's not always easy to find people to harvest or to find succession for farmers. So, being that the prices in internal market are rising, it means that there's a lot of people returning back to the countryside and farming life. So, this is one of the positive signs that we see, and we've been talking to the producers about is that there's a lot of younger farmers returning to their family farms and treating coffee as a business and as a new life, as a new way of living. So this is very cool to see as well. So this is currently our marketplace offering. So this is basically a snapshot basically of today, actually. So we have 22 public offers online. This is across 8 producer organizations that you are probably familiar with if you're a bit longer with us together. 14 of those public offers have samples. They are in stock, and the rest will follow week after week. We have a few samples that are sitting right now in the office in the quality lab that my dear colleague Pablo will cover in the coming days. And we feel that right now we have 65% of the offers available. So as we said, it's a bit later, but do know that these offers will go from 65% to 100% rather quickly in the coming weeks. And then the micro lots, they will follow in the beginning of September to mid-September. So currently we have around like 6,800 bags online, in between the price range of 10 euros per kilo to 27 or 4.8 US dollars per pound until 13. And as I said, we will be becoming better in terms of offering and terms of samples. So here you kind of see the 8 producer organizations that you might or might not know. These are available with the samples. So there are more producers that will be offering their offers online in the coming weeks, with as well more offers samples to come. But this is the snapshot of today with the samples available. So as you can see, we have big volume producers, but we have low volume producers as well with micro lots available, naturals, fully washed, single origin farms with a different price interval and different price range as well. So feel free to check it out after the call or the webinar. All right. So then this is already the end of my section. So this is something to keep in mind. These are the shared shipments that will be leaving from Peru. So two-sided, we break this up in between EU and the US. So for EU, we have a shipment leaving in October. So your last order should be placed by September. Arrival will be mid-December. We have as well 2 shipments going from Peru to the US, one to the East Coast and one to the West Coast. So feel free to, of course, check it out where your order needs to be placed by the date, the end date. So from to California, so West Coast, it will arrive around in January. To the East Coast, this will be the end of February. And then we have a second shared shipment leaving for the EU to Bremen at the end of this year, which will land in the end of February. And of course, keep in mind that these are shared shipments. So everything that is custom, so basically when you order more than 100 bags at once, this will be shipped, of course, whenever you want. All right. Thank you very much. And I would like to pass it on to my colleague.
Okay, thank you, Xavier, for all the insights. Hello, everyone. I will be highlighting today some of the current offers that we have available in the platform. I divided the quality today in 3 tiers. I call them essential, all-rounders, and exceptionals. Essentials means the coffees that we will use for a blend. Those are the high volume lots that are always consistent and dependable for your blends, usually scoring between 82, 83. Then we will highlight. I will highlight all rounds. Those are the ones that I think of, or daily coffees. The ones that are versatile. They can be used for filter or espresso, and also there are some nice stories as well, like woman-led and certified stories. And the last ones are the exceptionals. Those coffees are like very, very high quality coffees. They are like 86 and above in the SCA score. And today I will be highlighting two geishas, that both of them are micro lots. So really, if you want to try them, it's a call to action to request samples from the lab. And yeah, I think we are ready to move to the next one. So for the essentials, they are clean, consistent, and they are high volume. The first one is the Sequia Pampa. The lots are also as a reference for you to order in the platform. So you see there Peru 181, Peru 191, and Peru 366. Those are the information you need to type in the platform to find the offers. Sequia Pampa is from Valle Alto Cooperative. This one is one of the most competitive in terms of pricing. It's a fully washed coffee, has all the needs that for a blend, has silky body, has a low citric acidity, and has a very nice sweetness. Then we go to Vista Hermosa, Peru 191. It's a bit higher in quality. This one is the only one currently we have with a rainforest certification. And then you have at the bottom organic certifications, fair trade. And this coffee has a bit more body than the previous one. Notes of dark chocolate and really nice acidity as well. Also, just to mention quickly, the prices are just for reference. Often they move in the platform, and just when you get into the platform, they are also priced on FOB. So it's different than the final price, but just to give you a reference. The Vista Hermosa, for instance, has a lot of volume. And yeah, I think it's a very nice one. And finally, we have Café Arabica Orgánico from Argea. Also fair trade, also organic. This shows a lot of commitment from Peru when it comes to paying fair wages and producing organic coffee. This coffee has again silky body, has some almond and red apple notes, and it's really nice. I think you can also use it as a single espresso base, but also combining in a blend. So if you move, we can move to the next one, the all-rounders. This is my favorite one. The first one is Peru 212, probably one of the favorite lots in the platform by roasters. It's Huellas de Mujer, again from Valle Alto, from the Amazonas region. And this lot is a combination of the effort of 42 women producers, that they also have their own roastery and brand, and benefits of the project are reinvested in the lot and the effort. Yeah, the volume is quite high, but as Javier mentioned before, the yield is pretty low. So the sooner you get the samples and you taste them, the better. Coffee has dry fruits, has a juicier body, has a bit higher acidity than the previous slide, the lots, but very nice rounded. Then we have Lima Coffee from Cajamarca. This is from a Proagro, Linkov, and this is what Xavier was also mentioning, referring to. Like, it's a young association that started from 300 and now are 700 farmers since 2016. Really quality driven, and also training and finance. This coffee has, again, a silky, juicy body, and the higher it gets also in the score, sometimes it has the higher in acidity perception. You have also stone fruits, green apple, and all those citrus notes. And the final one of the all-rounders is Café Mujer Nubasenchi. This is from Gocta in Amazonas. Again, it's a woman's grown microblend. This coffee is really, when it comes to price and quality, really the value stand out. has a medium to high citric acidity, very citrusy character, and I think it's also fully washed and one of my favorites this year. And we go for the final slide. These ones are the exceptionals. These coffees are going to be, if you get to taste them, it's going to be one of the best Perus you ever taste. And I really can back up these coffees in quality. There are both geishas, both from Gokta and both natural process, which is very hard considering the conditions that we currently have in Peru. So they are micro lots. There's only 20 bags of each of them, but they are really hitting the highest scores, full of complexity. Finca Morales, which is named for the wild berries that they have in the farm, has passion fruit, has berries, tropicals. You can see juicy, velvety, high citric acidity, and all the nice descriptors that you can think of. And then on the other side is Nuba Senchi from Sonia Diaz, which Nuba Senchi, as I wrote there, like it's in Abajun language. It means strong woman. So it's also she definitely did a great job. It's a natural, it's a geisha. It has the difference between them is that Finca Morales goes more for the passion fruit, the berries, that high vibrant acidity, and then on the other side, Sonia Diaz is more like, I feel like more floral, more mango, more creaminess, are rather thick sweetness to the lot. So yeah, they are the highlights. Those are the 8. We have more in the platform, but yeah, don't hesitate and request them, and taste them by yourself.
Yes, thank you, Pablo. I'm gonna share my screen. Does that work? Yes, all good. Thanks, Pablo. So maybe some of the coffee that Pablo told you about caught your attention. And if you want them and you want to cup them and order them, that's on the platform where everything happens. So if you don't have an account, I will invite you to create one. It only takes a few minutes. And that's where you're going to have access to all of the offers, and also where you're going to place order samples, and also manage your whole inventory. So I'm not going to go through all of the things that are possible on the platform. I just want to give you a brief overview and give you some tips. But we're going to jump directly on the Peru category, because that's what we're talking about. So the first thing that you see is that we have 2 tabs, origin and spot. So for those who are less familiar with Algrano, we don't work on a spot basis. So all of the offers that are on the platform are still at origin, and we only move the coffee once it's contracted. So that's why it's important to know when the shipments are closing, and know where you can expect the shipments to arrive. If you want to see that, here you will have a reminder of all the shipments. You just click and you will see when you need to place the order, when you can expect the container to arrive, in which warehouse, and what are the producers that are going in this container. Then it's super easy. We have a bunch of filters on the side, so that's quite straightforward. I would recommend to have the samples available tick to make sure that Pablo has samples in the lab that you can order and cup. And also, if you want to order less than 100 bags, it's better to have in shared shipments also ticked. If you need any specific processes or certifications, you can also narrow it down directly here. And so you will have a first selection of coffee. So as Xavier said, the Peru harvest is late this year. So we will get more offers coming on the platform. And if you don't want to miss on these offers, you can select the filters of what you're looking for and just click here on Save to Watch List. This way you will be notified every time there is a new offer on the platform that matches your filters. And then you can manage all of the watch lists that you have saved here, so you can also save different profiles, different origins. Then let's say you want to order samples. That's super easy. You just click on the coffee card. You also get a lot of information. So all of this is shared by the producer. Some more story also on the page. You're always invited also to message the producer. You can have access here to their profile on Algrano with the links of the socials, and also you can message them with the integrated messaging tool on the platform. And to order free samples, you just click here and it goes into your cart. You can choose either green, either roasted, and that will be shipped directly to you. Only takes 3-5 days depending on where you're located. And then once you're decided, that's right here. You go back on this page, you add the coffee to the cart, and that's where you're going to be able to choose all the services that you need. If you need shared shipments or custom, depending on the volume, if you need financing of the coffee while it's on the water or not. And you will see the price breakdown completely transparent depending on the different services that you need. And anytime, if you're facing any issue, you always have here the amazing support team that can answer your questions. So we have Anna Sophia with us, but there is also Sami and Maureen. So they're super active, and that's not AI, that's real people. So don't hesitate. They're the best. Last few thing that can be useful for you to know when you are maybe interested in also exploring other origin. You can go on your dashboard and you have an overview of all the containers and shipments we have for different origins. That's very useful to plan. And here you will always see all the samples you order where you can give feedback directly to the producers. Also, all of the orders that you have, you can track and see where is the coffee, when the coffee is gonna arrive, with live information from the logistics. So you will have all the information directly here, and also where you can schedule releases, manage your inventory, etc. So yeah, that was a quick overview. So don't hesitate to sign up on the platform if you don't have an account, explore, and if you didn't take notes of the coffees that Pablo presented, we will share that to you as well. You know, there is an ID of the coffee, as Pablo explained, starting with the PE for Peru, followed by numbers. So that's always useful ID to remember if you're looking for something specific. Yeah. Thank you.
Merci, Cécile. Thank you. Yeah, that's a lot of information in a short period of time. So we really recommend that you log on to algrano.com, sign into your account, and kind of tool around there yourself to get a little bit more familiar with the platform, where the buttons lead, etc. It's there's a lot of functionality on there, so it's good to get familiar. And I just want to bring this. Can you all see my screen again? Cool. I just want to bring this slide back up again, because this is really what determines if you can get a coffee or not. You have to make sure that you place your order by the date that the container closes. So as Xavier told us before, we have the first shared shipment going to Europe, to Bremen. Order samples now through the end of August, even beginning of September. We work with DHL, so samples usually ship within a day or two of ordering, and they usually, depending on where you're located in the world, take 2 to 4 days to get there. But it's good to order your samples early so that you can make sure you have time to receive the samples, sample roast them, and cup them before containers close. And yeah, if there are samples available now of coffees that you're looking to get, order them now. And as we've said, there will be more available as time comes. There's also another thing to mention is this. All of this is for the coffees we have on the platform, that you can search, as Cécile showed us. But we also offer kind of just logistics services. So if you're a roaster who already has a relationship with a producer in Peru, you already know that you're working with them, but you just need the coffee moved from Peru to your location. We can also take care of that. We call that our supply chain services. And what's the best way, team? What's the best way for roasters to inquire about that? Reach out to our sourcing team?
I would say if you're a roaster, you can reach out directly to support and explain what's your project, who is the producer, and give as much information as possible. And then support team will lead you to the right people.
Awesome. Yeah. And if you're if you're like, I bought 20 bags of coffee from this producer last year. I just need to move it. We can help you with that. Actually, that leads me to a question I have for all of you before we get to the next steps. I'm curious for all of you all who are joining us, where do you usually source your Peruvian coffee from? Is there an importer you usually work with or producers that you usually work with? And I also am curious if you usually order spot or forward. As Cecile mentioned, at Algrano, we really focus on forward contracting, which means that you're purchasing the coffee while it's still in the origin country. Spot purchasing is when the coffee is already in the destination. So, yeah, I'm curious for all of y'all who are joining us, where do you usually get your Peru? Who do you usually work with? And what are you doing spot or forward? And for us here with Algrano, next steps that we would recommend for sourcing your Peruvian coffee is number one, determine your coffee needs. What flavors, what quality specifications are you looking for? Micro lots or blenders? What do you need in terms of Peruvian coffees? Start thinking about that and determine that. Then look at the volume, the projected volume that you need for this upcoming year, so that you can kind of tweak and fine tune what you're looking for on the platform. And then, of course, adjust expectations around price and availability. As Xavier told us, a lot of Peru is down 30 to 40%. So volumes are down, which means prices are up. We're not going to get $3 FOB Peruvian coffee. It's just not going to exist. So just make sure that you're realistic about what you're looking for. Then we really recommend taking the initiative to order samples. Some sample availability is available now, and as Xavier told us, more is coming on the way. Pablo has his work cut out for him because the samples are arriving on his desk, trickling in little by little, day by day. And then make sure to, when those samples arrive to you, cup the coffees and place your orders ASAP. Again, with volumes down significantly, we anticipate offers to sell out relatively quickly because there's less volume for the same amount of demand. And then if you have questions, please reach out to us. You can contact the producer directly on the platform, as Cecile showed us. You can click on their name in the link in their each of the coffee orders and get in touch with our team at support@algrano.com. Again, as Cecile said, our support team is real people. It's not an AI chatbot. They're real people who are very, very helpful, spread across the world. So we have pretty much all time zones covered, and they're really on top of everything. I also wanted to take this time to invite you really quick to Brazil sourcing calls that we have coming up. I'm going to put the links in the chat in just a second, but we're going to have a similar call to this, but we're talking about Brazil sourcing. We'll have two different calls for that, actually, one in Europe and UK time zone and one in US and Canada time zone. But if you're interested also in sourcing from Brazil, those will be on September 15th. Again, I'll put the link in the chat when we get to the next session of this thing. So now we're going to open up to questions for you all. What questions do you have about Peru, about Algrano, about sourcing? Let us know what you got. All right, we have one. I live in San Martin region of Peru. I know many producers and generally they belong to cooperatives. For Algrano, how does it operate? It manages exports directly from the producer's farm or what? I think that's probably a question for Xavier.
Yeah, happily to answer. Thanks, Alex, for this question. So how we mainly work is that every harvest we sit down with the producers in Peru, where we will kind of choose one consolidator. So that consolidator is responsible to consolidate all the coffee from the nearby producers to export, to make sure that the coffee goes onto the boat and goes to destination. So what does the consolidator do and what does Algrano do is, so whenever a small producer, whether they belong to a cooperative or not, they get in contact with a roaster, they do the contracting, and then our logistical team, so we call it Origin Logistics team, and me, we make sure that the coffee from this small producer or from this co-op gets transported to the consolidator. So how does this work? So the consolidating producer, they will get into contact with the small producer via our channels, and then they will kind of make the arrangements like, okay, you need to bring your coffee at this date, at this place, and this time. And that's it. So we kind of facilitate the communication in between the smaller producers, the co-ops, and the consolidating party. And this consolidating party is mainly a big co-op or a big producer or producers that we have verified and that we have worked with in the past. I hope that answered your question. If not, you can reach out on the chat, Alex.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, next question. I would love to know what is driving producer costs mentioned earlier in the presentation. So that's probably, again, for you, Xavier.
Yeah, so mainly, so how the supply chain works with, or production kind of works within the coffee industry, and this is in general, not only in Peru, is coffee industry is something that is really pre-investment heavy. So you invest a lot of capital into your farm or into your production, into your harvesting. So by the time you are going to harvest your coffees, you've already committed to a lot of fixed costs. So being it labor costs, be it for your pickers, for feeding the plants, for trucks maintenance, et cetera, et cetera. So whenever the yield is down, you can spread your fixed cost only on a lower base of offer. So that means that that your fixed costs are going to be written off on a lower quantity of coffee. So that's what kind of drives the upward stream of pricing. So it's basically, in order to make profit from a producing site, they need to up their costs in order to, first of all, cover the basics and to pay their pickers, to pay their families, to get their own food as well. Otherwise, they won't make any profit. So that's the biggest driver. And then, of course, I see something else with the C market effect. Of course, this has effects as well, because the volatility of the past few years of the C market doesn't make it easy either, because it's mainly driven by speculation. But we try to accommodate this and mitigate this risk from our side, from producer's side as well. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that kind of addresses another question, which was how does the current fluctuating C market affect the contracts with Peruvian producers?
Yeah, maybe just so producers, they have their own decisions, so they can put their prices as a fixed price. So their FOB price is a fixed price. They can put their prices online as a dynamic price as well, which is then based on the C market of that day. It gets updated on the platform every other hour, if I'm not mistaken. Then they add this differential, and they can as well allocate a price floor. So if the market drops, for example, then the producer doesn't lose their minimum FOB price, and they're allowed as well to sell coffees on differentials. So this is a service that we offer as well, that the sourcing team is guiding them on selling. So this is as well another way on mitigating price risks for the producer sites, basically.
Yeah, so our team will consult with the producers and give them kind of best practices, but it's up to the producer themselves if they want to have a fixed price or sell on a differential. So the producer is in charge of that. That's one of the kind of mainstays of Algrano's value proposition is the producers are in charge of their own pricing. They're in charge of their sales. They're in charge of their relationships. So it's really, everything is up to the producers in the end. All right, another question. I have a roasting business in Lima and already work with Peruvian coffee farmers. I'm starting a micro roastery in Belgium and need a logistics partner to help bringing some small lots from there. Didn't see you ship to Antwerp. Do we ship to Antwerp? And what seaport do we ship from which seaport do we ship the coffees in Peru? Who's best to answer that one? Would it be Ana Sofia or Xavier?
And Sophia, go ahead if that's okay for you, or
You go ahead for this one.
okay. So from which seaport? It depends on where. So it's in Lima, right? So it depends a bit on where the Peruvian coffee farmers are from. So most of our Peruvian coffee farmers, they're more from the north of Peru, so the Amazonas region or the Cajamarca region. And there we ship from Paita. Yeah, Paita, if I'm not mistaken. So it's super down north. We have, and I think this was another question as well, so I will answer these both in one. We have one farmer which is called Chacra Dondago, which is Caesar. He has this coffee that goes from Lima. So we sometimes ship from Lima as well. Um, but we need a minimum order quantity then from 100 bags, or at least consolidate a lot of bags in order to make sure that we can ship it to the EU or ship it to the US, basically. And then to answer the second part of your question, it depends on where we ship. So normally when we ship to the EU, we ship to Bremen. And then we have inter-warehouses that goes to or Switzerland or Antwerp in this case, or the Netherlands. So it depends on where the volumes of the shared shipment will go to, and then we pick the most efficient place to ship it to in destination. Very often, well, no, sorry, not so very often we go directly to Antwerp, but mostly it goes to Bremen, basically. Depends on demand.
Great. Yeah, you kind of answered another question, as you said, about any word or information on coffees from the south of Peru. As you said, we have Chacradondago. Do you know if we're working on trying to bring more producers from the south? Or, I mean, this is if you're a roaster who already has a relationship with a producer in the south, again, we can do the logistics for you. But yeah, Xavier, do you know if there are more coming in this year or maybe in future years?
So it's not only roasters that ask these questions. I think our sales managers from the US who are in this call as well, they've asked me many times as well. So for us, it really depends on Rachel was one of them. It depends on if it makes sense financially wise. So if for one bag or for two bags, we need to move coffee from Cusco, for example, which is in the middle central of Peru, to Lima, it wouldn't make sense financially because it would cost us or the producer and therefore as well the roaster quite an amount of money. But if at some point we reach this tipping point where we are working with some producers from central Peru or South Peru, and we see that there is a known demand in the EU or in the US, we can accommodate this, of course. And then it's basically it depends on demand. So I've told this as well to our sales manager, Rachel and Trevor, that we are willing to look into this as a sourcing team. We do have some contacts in Central and South Peru with good cup quality, with already established exporting license and logistical supply chain services. So yeah, it depends on the roaster demand basically, and if it makes financial sense for us.
Yeah, I was recently in Peru, and I mean, all coffee producing countries, most are very mountainous, and it takes a long time to get from one place to another. Peru is on a different level of like difficulty of accessibility. So when we're thinking about, filling these containers, it's not just about, oh, it's easy to move a couple of bags from here to there. It's about we have to make sure that enough bags in a close enough region can get onto a container. That container can be filled up enough that, each bag, the cost of that transport divided by the number of bags doesn't make the bags twice as expensive because then nobody, roasters aren't going to buy it if the cost of logistics is the same as the cost of the coffee itself. So yeah, there are a lot of moving pieces for moving coffee around, especially, yeah, Peru. Those mountains, man, they don't play around. I saw another question in the chat, which was, are the essentials the only organic offers? And I saw Xavier answered that 80% of our Peruvian coffees in general are organic certified. There's a huge, huge proportion of coffee in Peru that's certified, whether like organic is a huge one, Rainforest Alliance, as we saw. Pablo, do you want to talk a little bit about certification in Peru? Or Xavier?
I think Xavier is doing a great job today. I will pass it to him.
I'm already having a sore throat. But yeah, certification. So when it comes to organic certification, Peru is like one of the most prominent destinations or origins, sorry, for sourcing organic coffee. So in general, yeah, that's why naturally our offer has these organic certifications. For example, when you compare it with with Brazil, there it's way harder to produce organic coffee because there is the difference with Brazil, for example, is Peru has more microsystems that allows it to make organic coffee. So yeah, that leads to a great organic offer with a lot of variety going from 80 cup score to high essentials that Pablo loves. So, and then on top of that, we try to source as well a bit the Rainforest Alliance left and right. We try to make a portfolio that is kind of balanced out as well. So with fair trade, with organic, with Rainforest Alliance, and this doesn't only apply, of course, for our Peru portfolio, but as well for our other origins. We try to balance out.
And then there was a question, what qualifies a coffee to be organic certified?
I would really be happy to answer this as I work myself on organic farm as well. So it's not that easy actually to become an organic certified producer because it takes quite a while to become verified. It takes more or less 3 years because they need to check everything. Like they need to check the soil, they need to check the plants, if there's any traces of agrochemicals still left from past use. They're very strict on it. So that's why we always work with certified producers, even though there's some producers in our portfolio that have these regenerative practices, for example, or organic practices. But then we are 100% sure that they are not using any agrochemicals, which has an impact on health or, basically on health and on soil. We try to make sure that we check everything. So basically, the producers, they upload their certifications online through our platform, and then we get a message, we check it with one of the sourcing team members, and then we double check it, triple check it, and then we verify them with organic certification, which it's not our organic certification, by the way. This is a third party from Peru or from Brazil or wherever. So verified sources.
Yeah, there's a third party called organic certification, and there's actually two. There is organic certification, like certified organic, and there's USDA organic certification, which is just relevant to the United States. And those are different governing bodies. They go to the farms, test the soils, check the practices. On our side, what we just do is if a producer says, yes, we are certified organic, we double check that their certification is valid and like current. But yeah, it takes a lot of work. And then there's another question along the similar vein: are any of our coffees shade grown? Which is organic is a like certification, like you get a sheet of paper that says this is organic. Shade grown is not a certification. It's just a method of growing. Xavier, you want to touch on that too?
Yeah, sure. I think this is more and more common because the reason, for example, why there were rains and heavy rains, not only in Peru, but as well in Brazil, is because of climate change. So in general, the Earth is heating up, the temperatures are higher. So especially in lower regions in other origins, they are more moving to shade-grown coffee because this lowers your temperature by 1, 2, 3 degrees, which is a big impact. So yeah, we see it more and more, but in countries like Peru, because it's already at a high altitude, um, and it's smaller farms, basically, they are kind of already growing in between forest, natural forest, forestation, vegetative types. So it's more natural in Peru that it's shade grown. It's more in touch with the nature and yeah, basically that.
And that's also a really great question if you're looking at a specific lot on Algrano, to reach out to the producer directly and say, hey, I'm interested in purchasing this coffee. Is it shade grown? You know, you can ask, can you send me pictures of your coffee farm? Can you send me pictures of the coffee trees? I'm interested to see what it looks like. A lot of producers also have those photos already uploaded onto their Algrano platform, so you can look at those. And again, just as producers are in charge of their pricing and their own relationships, producers are in charge of what photos are on their Algrano platform. It's like fully on like the producer's representation of themselves. They get to choose how they're represented on the platform. All right. Another question. Have you seen any SL9 come through the offers? SLs are in hot water right now, which is super fun to watch. Pablo, do you have any SL9s on your desk?
No, unfortunately not. I haven't seen it yet. I wish we could have it in the platform, but so far we have only natural geishas, not the SL9.
Only natural geishas.
Yeah. So I mean,
Boo-hoo.
yeah. Well, yes, we don't have SL9.
Yeah. But keep watching. Maybe we'll get some. Yeah, Christopher is the root of all discussion. All right, we just have a couple more minutes if anyone has some last questions. Otherwise, I'll reiterate that some samples are available now. So right now would be a great time after this call just to go to algrano.com, order some samples of coffees that are available so you can at least start tasting the offers that are there. As I wrote in the chat, I had the pleasure of tasting that Limcoff, and it is so good. I did a cupping at Aviary a couple of weeks ago, and it was literally a standout on the table. Everybody loved it. So there's at least that one to order, and then a couple more coming now. As Cecile showed us, you can save different search filters to your watch list, and then anytime a new sample is uploaded that meets your criteria, you will get a notification, an email that a new sample is available, so you can order it then. And yeah, keep an eye on those shipping timelines to make sure that you order your coffee before the shipment dates close. We'll be doing a Brazil webinar in a couple weeks to talk about pretty much this same stuff, but for Brazil. And yeah, thank you all for joining. Thank you, Pablo and Cecile and Xavier and Ana Sofia, for your expertise and for being here to share with us. Oh, and yes, if you have any questions, contact support@algrano.com. Also, if you have a dedicated sales manager and you've already purchased from Algrano, you can reach out to your sales manager directly about Peru. So thanks all.
Thank you,
Cheers.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good one.